Okay, so let's check if we are live because this is very new to me. If you can see me, let me know. Let me know, let me know, let me know. Oh, it says I'm live. Yes. Okay. Oh, hang on a minute. Okay. Right. Good. Okay, so I'm here. This is so exciting. Look at this. I put some lipstick on just for you. Well, just for me too. So I was so excited because what I wanted to do is go live just randomly. I came up with it maybe yesterday, maybe the day before, and I just felt like I really, really want to share some of this stuff with others because I've been coming up across so many people who are either living an amazing life and they don't even know why, or and they're maybe afraid at times of like what's good, what's not good, and why certain things are going well and not. And then I also come across many, 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 like far too many people who complain, who worry about money, who worry about their situation, their future, and so on. And then I've been living a life that has very, very, very shaky foundations at times, and I realized that recently. And like I've been getting annoyed with that, and then I thought, okay, the world is your mirror, so what is it mirroring, right? What am I attracting that I'm seeing all of this in my life? And then I realized that it was because maybe those people needed to hear something different, and maybe from what I'm sharing they can learn a different story. So this is very exciting because the stuff I have to share is funny, and I will tell you about some of the things that happened for me in my life, and some of the situations that were just amazing, and some situations that were just so bad, so atrocious. I just like, oh my god, right? So I have actually put down a list because what I want to do is I want to talk to you for about 30 minutes, and I tend to go overboard. Like if I don't give myself specific structure, I will go on and on and on and on and on. And so what I want to do, I want to just share some key things about my journey. And as I said to you, it's like I want to share with you how I traveled to all these places with my kids while being in the middle of divorce, moving continents, no fixed income, and so many other things happening, and super, super massive changes in my life, including the change of my path and what I wanted to do in life. So hence why I put my effort into talking to you guys. And so let me get started. I just want to make sure that whoever wants to, I can copy the link to this. Okay, perfect. I want to share this on a couple of groups because I promised to share this there. Okay. Okay, posting there. Oops. Posting there. And there. Okay, right. We're doing it. Yay, very excited. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you. So today, as I said, 30 minutes max. I want to spend some time with my kids. I was just playing games with them and it was so amazing. And I'm like, but I promised a live. And so I asked myself a couple of questions. Some of the questions I want to share with you as well, hopefully today, that helped me really decide so that I feel that everything is going exactly in the most amazing way, as opposed to I feel like I'm missing out on something. So I want to tell you a couple of stories, because the reason I created this was, like many people said to me, you know what, I can't find the money for something, or, you know, this is my life, I am struggling, I'm this and that, right? So I wanted to share the good and the bad, because some people go, oh my God, I have this amazing life. Like, I have gold necklaces and all the bling and everything there. And like, I'm so amazing. And, you know, like, check this out, learn from me, that kind of thing, right? Well, actually, I don't want to tell you this, because I want to share with you some of the most amazing things I've created, and then some of the stuff that I've created that are like, no one ever wants this, so don't repeat this. And I want to share that, and I want to tell you what happened, right? What's the process? Because I feel like when we know what we're doing, we sometimes think like we are attracting, oh, I'm manifesting something. And if the stuff that I want happens, then great, I've manifested it. Well, how many times you didn't want something to happen, you were worried about something, you feared it, and you attracted it? That's because you were manifesting it subconsciously, okay? And I will tell you about that in a minute. So let me tell you a couple of stories, and then I will kind of defunk them. I will break them to, no, that was not the right word. I will break them into pieces for you so that you can know what I mean. So some positive stories. Okay. So a few years ago, I was going on my personal development journey, and it was probably halfway through. I was actually experiencing a big dip in my finances, in my relationship, and a few other areas of life. Like, I felt like things were better before, right? Like, I could definitely say, yes, this area was better. I felt better in this and better in this and so on. And so I came across this program. And so I was talking to someone about joining it. And I remember being like, this is the exact thing I need right now. You know, when you feel something is right for you, like whether it's the piece of clothing or the I don't know, the food, or a recipe you see, or like the perfect way to spend the day, or the maybe it's a purchase, a big purchase, or small, whatever it is, right? Sometimes you feel like, oh my God, this is meant for me, like this is exactly what I need, want, whatever. So I came across this program. This person was teaching how to increase your income. Excuse me. And basically everything that was supposed to go into the program, I felt like that was meant for me. The only problem was the program was 4 times more than my then monthly salary. And obviously I still had to pay like living expenses and all that from this monthly salary. So even if I worked 4 months, I would still not make enough for that, right? Even if I worked 6 months, I probably wouldn't. So there was no visible way where I could get that money from. I was also at the time running, well, I was really dabbling at the time. I was starting a real estate business. And so all my credit cards were actually used towards the business. So I could take no percent loans to fix up the properties so that I could pay them off. So I had no credit, I had no savings, I had nothing, like no money that I could give. But I felt that this was right, right? I just felt like, oh my God, this was the thing for me. Like, I must do it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I must do it, right? Actually, that's when things switch on. That's when ideas switch on often, when you're like, it's a must. Like, if you were told, I don't know, go and find, oh, there's a good story that someone tells often. If, you know, there's a house and, I don't know, there's like a big lake around it, and then some crocodiles inside, and some poisonous spiders, and it's an electric fence around it, and there's, I don't know, like $10,000 in there. Would you go in? Probably not, because of all these different things that are around it, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't go in. Who would go in? Anyone? Like, anyone? So, imagine this scenario. Same thing around poisonous spiders, crocodiles, electric fence, but the most loved member of your family or friend, or the most loved person, is there inside, and they're asleep, and the place is going to blow up because there's a bomb set out. And so what happens then? Would you go in? Of course you would, right? So this is about like how important it is. So sometimes decisions feel like so important, like it's super important, I've got to do this, right? I've got to do this is so amazing. So that's how I felt about this. But I had no way. And for some reason, I said to the woman I was talking to, I said, I want to do this. Give me until Monday to find the money. It was Friday. And I said, I'm in. Give me till Monday. I had no idea how I was going to do this. And so I was like, yep, Monday is done. And I put the phone down. And guess what? All the money came before Monday, right? There was a chain of events that happened that day, the following day, and then on Monday that actually brought me all of the money. And I'm not going to go into the details of it, but the decision was made. And then, I received a letter with something, someone called me, I saw something, and it was not because I suddenly started working harder and finding ways. Like, I literally just kind of did it, because the decision was made. So when you make a decision, when you really focus on something, and that doesn't mean repeating it all the time. I mean, I'm going to talk about affirmations and visualization and all that stuff that's like repeat, because it doesn't work unless there's a very key ingredient in it. So I was just so committed, everything aligned, right? So actually, let me note stuff down, because I want to tell you more about certain things, but I also want to cover some main things so you have some ideas if you are needing this, because maybe you are 95% there in terms of creating the reality you want, and maybe the 95% there is there, but the 5% is the glue. And maybe you're doing a lot of things and they seem right a lot of the time, but they don't always work. And what you want to create a reality where you get to create it. You get to be like, you put pawns in a game, right? And you create whatever you want. So, steps in manifesting. Okay. I am not going to pretend that I can multitask. This is actually nonsense. No one can multitask. People can do two things at once, often like drive and listen to something, but you will never do them in the same way as you would do them if you were just doing them in solitude. So yes, you can do certain things and they will be done kind of halfway there. Okay, so another example. I was going to fly to, I was in Europe and I was going to fly to San Diego. There was this event being organized and I had no money. I had no way to go to it. There was just no reality for me at the time that I would be able to just like buy a ticket, fly there, go by myself and spend some time there and go back. There was no way. And I remember thinking, okay, some miracle would have to happen, because at the time I was on the level of belief that it was not happening for me. So I felt like it was a miracle. And guess what? 2 days later, I was on the plane to fly to San Diego. And then I stayed there a few days and came back. My dad randomly called me and said, you know what? I think I found some money that maybe if you want to use and go on your trip, you could do that. Now, that was not going to happen unless I did it right? I made a decision. I was like, I'm there. I could feel I'm there. Like, I could feel with my whole body that I was there. And I could see that in my vision, right? I could like feel the, the warmth of the sun. I could see myself where I was, like with all the details and all that. And that's not because I sat there and visualized it until I pooped myself. It was because I just felt like that's it. I made a decision. I'm there. So decision, that's what's happening. Let me tell you about a couple of examples when I did the opposite, okay? Because there's some interesting stories too. So maybe not such a great story, because people go, oh well, what if you didn't fly there? Okay, well, if I didn't fly there, I wouldn't fly there, right? Nothing bad would happen. So I manifested something else. I was in the middle of my divorce and we had not finalized what was going to happen with our kids, how we were going to manage the relocation from one continent to another, where my ex-husband was staying where he was and I was moving to another continent. And although we had agreed briefly, it turned out that that was not enough. Haha. I mean, guess what? Surprise, surprise. You talk about something and you don't really formalize it. And sometimes not everyone keeps their word. but it's fine. So I received court papers to say that I was going to be asked to come to court and talk about my children and figure out what was going to happen. And I received the papers a day before I was meant to turn up there. Now, luckily, I was in I was going to be in that country anyway with my kids, but I was going to fly out like the day before I was supposed to be in court, and I wasn't gonna be there for another week and a bit. So I managed, thankfully, to find a way to appear in court on screen, but my children were already with their dad. And I remember throughout the time that I was away, between us splitting up and this time happening, I felt like, you know what, like he's gonna, like what if they are suddenly expected to stay in the UK and they are expected to stay there and they are expected to just be there forever, and like I will not get to see them and all that, right? And guess what? I appeared on the court video link, and in court I heard, I'm sorry, but it looks like the kids need more formal schooling than the schooling you are giving them, even though my schooling was very, very much more than the standard traditional schooling. And so they will need to go into the classroom. Now, I would probably not attract this judge if I was not in the state that I was in. My decision was messy, all scattered everywhere. So I was in another country and I was told, your kids will be in this, they have to stay. They are not going anywhere. They are not allowed to leave the country until the next court hearing. And you have nothing to do about it. And we are ordering that they will go to school now until the next court hearing. Right. So what did I do? I manifested the entire story, right? I made it, I kind of verbalized it, vocalized it, whatever. It came up. And I remember talking to a friend and saying, you know what? That's not happening. I'm flying to the next place that I was going to fly to with them. I'm flying there next week with them. Then I'm going to my next trip, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to pick them up, and then we're going to go back to where we decided to relocate. I said, this is what's happening. And guess what? Suddenly, 2 days later, my ex dropped the case. And we had a hearing. When I was there in person, I specifically manifested one of the 2 days that I was there physically to happen. One of those 2 days it happened. And there in person, we agreed and listed all the key things that we agreed to for the next few months. And I was free to take the kids back and travel with them the next day where I was going. I had all the tickets booked. I had everything because I was like, this is happening, right? Again, I made the decision, right? Can you see already some key elements? Okay, let me tell you about another thing. So I was really worried as I was traveling somewhere, and I was like, oh my God, this all sounds too good to be true, to be happening all at once. This is just too good, too amazing. I don't think, yeah, I'm going, but that, like, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I was thinking this is just too good. So what do I manifest? I take off on the plane and I receive an email saying your next flight is cancelled and we will have you fly out the following day. And I'm like, okay, well, worst comes to worst, we've got a hotel taken care of, the airline is obviously taking care of it all, it's fine. I land, it turns out they changed our flight. There's a flight departing today, we're flying through another destination, but we have to run. So we run, we almost didn't make it. Now we make the flight, we take off, we land. At that destination, we're supposed to pick our bags to check them back in. No bags in sight. Nowhere. No one even knows where they are. I'm like, okay, well, what do we do? Okay, well, we fly to the destination that we're supposed to go to. On the last flight, what happens? I get an email, again, as we're about to take off. I have this habit of picking up emails just as we go. I pick up the email. What does the email say? The email says, I'm sorry, your accommodation, which we had booked and paid for the next 3 months, has just been cancelled. We are sorry, the previous guests stayed in and they trashed the place, and I'm so sorry. And so I tried to book something else, nothing available, nothing of this kind. the place that I booked through is like, yeah, we can take responsibility, we can help you, but if we don't find anything, you have to book a hotel. We'll refund you for this. So we get there and we land, no bags. We're delayed by like 6 or 7 hours, nowhere to go. So like literally no underwear. The best part was I also checked in all the cabin bags. So I had literally nothing. Like we had nothing other than the passport and the bottle of water, right? So we had water, I guess. We had the passports. I don't even know if, I don't even think I had I had my chargers and my laptop, luckily, because you have to have that in your, like, with you. So I manifested all that, right? And then through a sequence of events, we ended up in this place that was just, it was a place, but it wasn't what I looked for before, what I wanted. So very, very funny and very interesting. It just, it just happened so. So next thing, what happened next? I mean, there was just a whole sequence of events, but I was like, you know what? Okay, that's good. I manifested that clearly. What is the next thing that's happening? I made a decision and I said, there's good coming out of that. And I ended up getting all the money back for all the delays and cancellations. So it actually paid for all my trips. And then I also got some sort of insurance money for the inconvenience. So that was actually a money earner for me. But that's because I made a decision. I said, you know what? I'm not a victim here. This is working out really well. So the reason I'm telling you these different mixed stories is that I have created amazing things in my life. Like I've created this whole way of traveling for the last, I've been traveling with my kids for a long time, but this last year has just been magical. We've been to so many beautiful places. I have visited so many places. I've rediscovered myself, like the person I really am, the fun person, the person inside of you, who you are. And let me just see what I wanted to share before we get cut off. So okay, so what I did actually was completely lost track of reality, and I say reality in inverted commas because sometimes we are told to listen with our ears, look with our eyes, think with our brain, but actually what's here is often the stuff that is taking us away, disconnecting us. What's here, I'm pointing to my gut. Those two are the absolute amazing places that make decisions for us, where we feel, where we know what's right. And so when you're thinking, let me just see what I've written here. When you hear, like, you've got to get out of your comfort zone, you've got to do something new in life. If you want something new, you've got to do something new. And then you feel this fear, like, I don't know, shall I suddenly start doing sales? Shall I suddenly start doing, I don't know, something new, like talk to these people or go to this place or whatever. That's when you feel weird, because you're in disconnection with who you really are. Like, you will never do things that are out of your comfort zone and that are in opposite energy to you. You will only be doing things that are in your energy and in line with what you're doing. Okay, so what I'm saying is, for example, if you are visualizing, you want something new, right? You want something in your life and you're like, I'm so happy and grateful. I have this and I am this and I do this and I whatever. That's great. If you are doing affirmations like, I am so amazing, I'm a millionaire, I'm in a happy relationship, I am super healthy and fit, I am this, I am that. That's great. That's really all great. But that's only great when you have one ingredient in it. If that ingredient is missing, nothing's going to happen. So what else? Subliminals. When you listen to stuff that's supposed to bring stuff in your subconsciousness, all is great as long as it induces something, that missing thing. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. I just want to kind of tell you, because many people go, I want to create this reality. I've learned about visualization and manifestation and blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't work if you're not doing this, if you're just doing it robotically. Because robotically, you're just going to be like, you know, when we were in school and as a punishment you had to write on a board like 100 times. I don't know what was that teaching you other than like, this teacher is boring and like, you know, I really don't want to do this again because this is awful, like maybe that. So it all goes with feeling, right? So then people say, okay, so what about energy work? What about doing energy work? Like, what about if you have someone else work on you and maybe there's stuff that you can release because maybe you're blocking something? That's all great. But again, if you go to someone and you're like, yeah, they're just like a rip-off person, they're not going to do anything for me, they're not going to help me. Do you feel, oh, I'm sorry. You're going to feel that anyone's helping you do anything? Probably not, right? What if you go somewhere and you hear this person is the best and they help like every single person, like 99% of people have a 180-degree change in what they were doing in their life, in their world, whatever. So what happens? You're like, okay, great, that's it, amazing, that's gonna help, right? I've been there before where, you know, I believed in something and I was like, yeah, they're gonna help me, and I really saw the change. And then when I didn't see the change, even though someone was like, oh, they are gonna help you with this, or they are gonna do this for you, whether it's an energy person or whether it's a specialist in one area or another. Now, all of these things are linked. So whether it's affirmations, visualizations, manifestation, energy work, it all comes with a feeling, right? So, you know, when I talked about all these things that let's call them manifested, right? These things that I created in my reality, I created them in my reality because I had a feeling associated with it. It was I would call it a positive feeling, a feeling that I felt positive about something happening, right? When we talk about positive, being positive or negative, I was positive something was going to happen, whether that was something I wanted, yay, or something I didn't want, no thanks. I was being positive, right? It was going to happen. So that's in line with something. When you're aligned with something, it's going to happen. Well, you can be aligned with stuff you don't want because you're being positive about them happening. And that means you are worried about them because you don't want them to happen, but you are positive that they will. I hope that is making sense. I'm trying to go fast because I wanna just do a very quick live just to kind of see if this is helpful, because if it is helpful, I wanna do more because I feel like getting it out there is a must. So like in my life, I've been meeting all these people, and there's this thing about me, I can feel other people's energy. So if whatever they tell me, however convincing they sound, however confident they are, I can feel their energy. So they might be like super confident and whatever, and their energy is telling me something different, or they might be super confident and their energy is telling me this, or they might not be confident and their energy will be telling me this, or the opposite, right? So I often hear that people are like, I'm manifesting, I'm visualizing, I'm this, and I'm like, not feeling this from you. That's because they don't have the feeling associated with what they want. They know mechanically maybe how to do it, but they haven't got an emotion associated with it. And you probably know that there are 3 ways to master something, or 3 stages of mastering something. First, it's knowing something, like learning it. So you acquire it in here. Then it's emotionalizing it, like attaching an emotion to it, to doing it or not doing it. And then it's consistently doing something, so it doesn't feel like you're having to think about it. You're doing something because it's the new you, right? So for example, it's a habit basically. So for example, when you're a kid and you have to tie your laces for the first time, first you learn how to do it. Someone shows you. You make a loop, you scoop, and you tie, or whichever way you make a loop, you go around the loop and you tie it. I would not be great at explaining to others how to do it. I show my kids, I don't tell them, because yeah. So that's someone telling you this, right? Then you get an emotion like, oh my God, I'm so great at this. I can have shoes from the entire shop. I don't just have to focus on this shelf with all the kids' shoes. Now we can have everything. It doesn't just have to be Velcro or like pull-ins or whatever you call them, right? Yay, I can have anything I want. Okay. Then you do it. You don't think about it. You don't have to associate the emotion like, yeah, it's cool, I can have any shoes. You're like, whatever, I know it. It's fine. So you do it, you do it, you do it. Like we do it, right? We don't think about it like, oh my God, adults. I mean, like we're not like, oh my God, I'm gonna have all these shoes and because now I can pick from anywhere. No, you're just like, I'm tying my shoes. That's what I do. That's mastery. So you want to do the same with your emotions, with your feeling, right? If you're just manifesting something but you don't have a feeling associated with it, no matter how many times you do it, no matter how many times you repeat it, it's not gonna work. I know because I've done it. And then I ended up manifesting stuff I didn't want because I thought that by doing stuff mechanically I was gonna change it. It is not gonna change. There has to be an emotion attached to it. Now that emotion is all about understanding that, like understanding the process. Understanding that when there is emotion attached to it, that's it, you're done. And that means obviously whatever you want, when you truly really want it, you attach that emotion to it because you're like, oh my God, I want this. And just by feeling myself into it, that's mine. Like it's mine, I have it, right? So imagine this. If you just repeat something, no, 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 I'm doing this, like even if you pretend to smile or to be excited for a bit, but you don't have the understanding. I don't talk about belief, right? There's a difference between belief and understanding. I'm going to clarify that. So because you don't have that belief, because you think you have to believe in it, then you eventually like what do you call it? Waver? How do you say the word? Like you eventually kind of just go off track, right? You don't do it anymore. So what I mean by that is it stops, like you stop doing it. Now, what if instead of having to believe something's possible, like in Santa, you believe in Santa, you understand the process. You understand, you can tell your logical mind, if I attach my real emotions to it, that what I want is here, it's gonna come in my reality. But I must believe it. Now, you don't change, you don't go, oh, I want, I don't know, a great fit body, and then you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, that's not the case. No, you don't go, I'm super fit, but I'm looking in the mirror and I'm eating a donut right now in my hand, and I've got my remote in my other hand, and I'm sitting there watching Netflix. Like, no, don't tell yourself, oh, great, I'm super healthy and fit. You go, I feel like such a healthy and fit person. Now, can you feel that? Even though you might not be on the outside? Of course you can. Because with the feeling comes the reality eventually. Okay? So you can feel something and then you become it. And then you don't have to know what you start doing mechanically after that because you believed in something, because you understood it. Because again, it's not belief. Because you understood that this is the case, you don't suddenly go, oh, okay, because I understand it, now I do this. It doesn't matter. You don't have to know any of that. Like, please don't, because you don't have to know it. All you have to learn is to understand, right? So you have to specifically learn the process. Learn the process of what it is, like how you do this, how you create that. When you learn the process, you don't have to come up with like, oh, this is the way I want to feel, this is the belief. No, because it will just be there. It's like, yeah, of course it's here. So what's the difference between like you being, I've got something that I know is going to happen in like 21 days time, and in my reality I should really be pooping my pants right now because I have no way of knowing how it's going to happen. But that's not my business. That's none of my business. My business is understanding that what I'm creating right now is going to happen, and it's going to happen. And the people who are watching this, who I'm going to see, I'm going to share this with them. It's going to happen because I already feel it, I already see it, I already know what's happened. And because I understand how the process works, okay? So that's the difference, okay? Between understanding and believing and telling yourself and mechanically doing stuff. Don't mechanically do stuff until you whatever. You can't. It's like trying to go on a hamster wheel. You're burning a lot of energy, but you're not going anywhere. That wheel ain't going anywhere other than like around, like this. It's not a bicycle that's gonna take you somewhere. It's just there in place, and you're burning energy. You don't want to be on a hamster wheel. You want to be moving somewhere. You want to take that hamster wheel out of that freaking thing and just go, right? So what happens is understanding how it works and the process. Okay, I hope that I'm making this clear. Like, you don't have to repeat, you don't have to affirm, you don't have to, like, oh my god, I'm not in the state, I'm in the state, like I have to be in great mood. No, none of that has to happen, right? None of that has to happen. Everything that I positively manifested came from understanding that this is it, it's mine. Everything that happened from not, like, that I didn't want to happen and it happened, came from me, firstly not knowing, not being aware, and when I became aware, often just kind of deciding to let my negative emotion take over me, which is never the case, right? It's never something that you want. So, okay, I want to talk about the scale of consciousness, but I do want to go because I promised my kids a date. So I'm going to do another live, maybe tomorrow at the same time or something around that time, because I want to talk about this more. So I promise you to come back on, and I want to talk about the feeling and the scale you're on, and recognizing when you are in that vibration and when you're not. So that's what I want to talk about for sure. And it's not about telling yourself something, right? It's not about making this like, yeah, I've got this. And then I want to also tell you about some great tips. So I want to share, when you are not, like, when you feel like you're going downhill towards what you don't want, how to stop it, how to make the other side bigger, the opposite, so the side you want bigger, and then also how to maintain it, because I feel like that's gonna really help. So I want to do another live, and I think I'm gonna go and do it tomorrow, but I'm going to post about it anyway, maybe below this video. So if you watch this, I mean, maybe let me know if you're interested in the next one, or I mean, I'll probably do it anyway because I feel like it's something I really want to share. Hopefully, all this stuff that I've been talking about, because I haven't scripted it, I've just kind of bullet pointed a few things that I do want to cover, and I was jumping up and down like a kid out of joy. I was like, I feel like this is going to be like amazing to start with. So yeah, so I'm going to cover some more stuff tomorrow because I feel like it's going to help. And yeah, tell me if it is. I'm going to go back live here. If you are watching me in any groups, because I did share this in a few of the groups that I'm in. So if you're watching me in any of the groups, I will go back to the group and share it there as well. Yeah, so have a great night, day, afternoon, morning, middle of the, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, whenever you're watching this. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.